Welcome back to The Explainer. So today we're diving into a really fascinating curation of stories straight out of issue 93 of the weekly NishIsHere newsletter. And we're zeroing in on one super powerful theme, which is how human imagination constantly pushes our limits. Seriously, whether we're talking about the absolute vastness of outer space, the bleeding edge of artificial intelligence, or even the crazy physical extremes of a Hollywood movie set, the material we're looking at today is just packed with amazing insights.
Here's what we're getting into today: the boundaries of imagination, the totally wild saga of agentic AI, a bit of extreme nostalgia and action, the ultimate billionaire launchpad, and finally, building an audience magnet. All right, let's dive right in.
Section 1. The boundaries of imagination and setting the limits.
So Etienne Fortier-Dubois poses this absolutely brilliant question. He asks, is it not true that the boundaries of our imagination are the only real limits we face? Now that right there acts as the perfect philosophical lens for everything we're looking at today. I mean, think about it, right? Every single major leap in technology or business or culture, it all started simply because someone dared to imagine something way beyond their current reality. This thought perfectly sets the stage for how humanity just continually redefines its own limits. Basically, when we stop imagining, we stop progressing.
And honestly, there's probably no greater canvas for human imagination than space exploration. We're talking about 54 years of imagination, bridging the massive gap between Apollo 17 way back in 1972 and the upcoming Artemis 2 mission in 2026. NASA put these images side by side, showing our home planet as this one whole entity. Spectacular blues and browns, with the super vibrant green aurora just lighting up the atmosphere. It's such a profound reminder, you know? Captured literally more than half a century apart, these images show all of us through the lens of one of us. It really showcases the grand scale of our imagination and this relentless, unstoppable drive we have to return to the stars.
But, boundaries aren't just pushed in outer space. Let's move to Section 2, Agentic AI's Wild Saga and the Rise and Fall of OpenClaw.
Okay, so released in early 2026, this open-source AI agent project known as OpenClaw presented a really stark contrast. People were simultaneously hailing it as the revolutionary future of computing, while at the exact same time, it was being exposed as a huge disaster, just absolutely fraught with vulnerabilities. Now, agentic AI, if you're not familiar, these are systems that don't just answer your prompts, but they actually go out and actively make decisions and take actions on their own. That is the absolute bleeding edge of computer science. OpenClaw showed us exactly what that future could look like, but man, it also showed us how incredibly fast things can unravel when our imagination completely outpaces our infrastructure.
The initial hype? Oh, it was revolutionary. Developers were so ready for a new era. But that hype rapidly, and I mean rapidly, gave way to crippling security flaws. As highlighted by a cold fusion video analysis we looked at in the source material, OpenClaw ended up becoming a modern tech cautionary tale. It just goes to show that pushing technological limits without having the necessary caution, safety rails, and security, well, it can completely backfire. Yes, we absolutely have to imagine the future, but we have to make sure we're building it securely. So moving away from the bleeding edge of AI, what happens when we push temporal and physical limits? That brings us to Section 3, Extreme Nostalgia and Action, Pop Culture Limits.
Let's actually start by looking backwards for a second with this really fun question. Did the 1990s actually live up to the nostalgia? In this fascinating social experiment we found in the newsletter, Brendan from the YouTube channel Buff Dudes pushed temporal limits by completely ditching modern tech. He challenged himself to live exactly like a 1990s guy for an entire week. He fully immersed himself in the whole shebang, the era's unique pop culture, the distinct fashion, the clunky analog technology. It's just a really fun way to test our boundaries, right? Seeing what happens when we strip away the smartphones and all that constant connectivity to just revisit a simpler yet totally different time.
Speaking of pop culture eras, Tom Cruise's career evolution is just completely unique in Hollywood. I mean, he started out as this teenage heartthrob, transitioned seamlessly into a highly respected, prestigious dramatic actor, and then entirely reinvented himself again as an undisputed action legend. There are very, very few people in entertainment history who have continually pushed their own career boundaries quite like this. He simply refuses to be boxed into a single era or a single genre.
And Cruise literally puts his life on the line to push his physical limits. We are not just talking about acting in front of a green screen here. From scaling the outside of the Burj Khalifa, literally the tallest building in the world, to strapping himself to an airplane as it takes off, the guy tests the absolute limits of human endurance and bravery, just for our entertainment. It's the ultimate example of a creative mind just flat out refusing to accept the word impossible.
All right, shifting gears from Hollywood over to Silicon Valley, here is Section 4, the ultimate billionaire launchpad and business boundaries. Now, the story of PayPal has to be one of the wildest timelines in modern business history. It started as this initial collaboration between Max Levchin and Peter Thiel, right? But then it escalated into this massive, incredibly cash-burning rivalry with Elon Musk's X.com. The pressure was unbelievable, but instead of destroying each other, they actually merged. They pushed right through the dot-com crash to this wildly successful IPO, and then used that success to found entirely new empires.
So the crucial takeaway here is this. These founders did not just stop at revolutionizing online payments. They took that capital, that experience, and that crazy boundary-pushing mindset, and they went on to literally reshape global technology. Often called the legendary PayPal Mafia, this single group of individuals became the ultimate billionaire launchpad. They went on to create world-changing companies like Tesla, SpaceX, and Palantir. It just goes to show how one single high-pressure environment of innovation can ripple out and change the whole world.
All of these incredible stories naturally bring us to how we actually share ideas in the first place. Section 5. Building your audience magnet and the power of curation. Sean VP offers this super powerful mindset shift for the creator economy. He says, you're not building an audience, you're actually building a magnet that attracts a certain type of audience. Actually, Nish, the creator of the weekly NishIsHere newsletter, uses this exact concept. Think about it. By curating and sharing these highly specific, boundary-pushing stories, you aren't just shouting into the void hoping somebody listens. You are actively constructing a powerful magnet designed to attract a very specific type of curious, forward-thinking mind. And hey, the numbers prove that the magnet definitely works. Currently, that curation magnet has attracted over 2,000 curious minds. These are individuals who eagerly receive these hand-picked tech, business, and pop culture insights every single week. It just proves that there is a massive hunger out there for focused, high-quality information that really challenges how we view the world. Well, that brings us to the end of our explainer today. If your imagination was sparked by any of these stories, like if you found yourself totally fascinated by NASA's achievements, or the whole AI saga, or the legendary PayPal Mafia, then you, my friend, are exactly the type of person drawn to this magnet. So I highly encourage you to go visit NishIsHere.com right now to join this awesome community of over 2,000 curious minds. I'll leave you with this final thought. If the boundaries of our imagination are truly our only limits, what boundary are you going to push tomorrow? Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.